The 20th of August 2023. You're very welcome back. Just an article in a publication called The Article, and it's Germany in Decline. And this is a report by managers in Germany, and I'd just like to read it out to you. You know that I have been claiming that Germany has been a fraudulent state, that it has been falsely claiming to be moving to renewable energy when that is impossible, and it has been forcing these policies on Ireland and destroying our environment. But this is not. This is slightly different. This vindicates everything I've been saying. In fact, Germany's leading top managers have long kept silent or opportunistically acquiesced in the anti-capitalist environment policies of the past 2 decades. The board of major automotive companies, including Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz, applauded the energy and mobility transition. They applauded it. They never tried to point out the facts. Initiated by Angela Merkel. At the same time, they failed to speak out against the mistakes, such as the ban on combustion engines from 2035. Nobody in Ireland believes that will happen, but if they stop making the vehicles, where are you going to get them? But now many have had enough. Some have even decided to speak out. One of Germany's best-known business executives, Wolfgang Ritzel, formerly of BMW, Ford and Linde Group, and the Linde Group is the crowd that does the industrial gases, and they can't supply Honeywell with acetylene at the moment. So that's just a point. Now, they did so in the clearest terms last week in an article in the German daily Die Welt. That's an important newspaper in Germany, and he declared Germany is in decline. Now, the point is, what I see wrong with that is, why did they do it now? Why didn't they do it when I was campaigning 5 and 10 years ago? Why didn't they point out this? Why didn't they put the money into enforcing the SEA directive? His critique is persuasive. Productivity improvements have been Germany's hallmark for a long time, but unit labour costs have been rising for years. Cost of labour is going way up. Germany is no longer among the top 10 countries in European terms of gross domestic product per capita. We fell out of the list of the 20 most competitive countries in the world. So they're on the way down. Now, Germany is currently governed by a coalition of 2 left-wing parties. That's what the people wanted. That's what they voted for. So you get what you vote for. The devil mend them. Good enough for them. It's currently governed by a coalition of 2 left-wing parties, the SPD, Social Democrats, and the Greens, together with the market-orientated FDP, which is trying to prevent the worst from happening. Ritzel, however, does not lay all the blame on the government alone, but there's another villain in the piece. Above all, he believes the decline has its roots in the era of Merkel. That woman, Angela Merkel, that is the most destructive person in European history since Hitler. Now, in my opinion, it has its decline in the roots of the era of Merkel, who ruled Germany 2005 to 2021. 16 years under Chancellor Angela Merkel was too much, even for a country as strong as Germany, says Ritzel, adding, during the Merkel era there was not a single structural reform that would have made the country more efficient. No efficiency. She wouldn't know the front from the back of efficiency. However, 2 fundamental decisions have a lasting impact. Energy transition. That's my point. A complete and utter scam. To energy transition and the opening of the borders to uncontrolled migration. All US Democratic led, and when Trump tried to stop it, they all lost the run of themselves. He accuses Germany of having massively expanded its welfare system while failing to invest in the future. For a country as rich as Germany, Ritzel continues, the infrastructure is in disgraceful state. Well, throw it all out on the dole and throw it all out on goodies and migrants and all, and nothing built or nothing made. And don't ever forget, the people of Germany voted for this. They voted for Hitler, 37% of them. They should have no say in anything. So now, right, infrastructure is in a disgraceful state. He also criticises EU policy of constantly imposing new regulations on European companies. The EU is German-led. As an example, Ritzel cites the leading chemical company BASF. I mean, there's none of us but have used the products of BASF. I believe it was so big that during the war the Allies couldn't bomb it. It was too big. Huge place. Which has to contend with 14,000 pages of chemical industrial regulations. That's 14000. That's how many regulations they have to put up with. That's all these crowd can do, is get into every tittle tattle and regulate it, and some of the regulations conflict with each other. BASF recently announced plans to cut thousands of jobs in Germany and invest billions in China. That's the stuff for them, that they may be eaten out of the dustbins looking for an old half-ate sausage cooked in an old chipper 2 days before. That's my hope for these people, for what they have done. The company blames this decision on the horrendous cost of electricity. We're transition. We have 19% renewable energy. Ornaments to have. Horrendous cost of electricity in Germany and excessive red tape and bureaucracy. Many other companies have already announced that they will leave Germany and expand their operations in the USA and Asia. The quicker the better. My advice to all managers: get out of Germany, have nothing to do with them, isolate them, keep them on their own, that they have no say. That is very, very important. And they're running Ireland, and the Democratic Party in America is running them, and America bombed and took away the supply of cheap, good Russian gas from Russia and bombed the 2 Nord Stream pipelines, and the Germans still think the Yanks are the right crowd. Oh, you bombed our pipeline. Oh, how are you? Nice people. That's the ridiculous, stupid nature of the German psyche. And it led to the deaths of over 50 million people during the Second World War, and it led to the deaths of 6 million people just based on their ethnicity, their race and all that, and their sexuality in the gas chambers. That's what they have done, and I never forgive them, and I never let them off the hook. I know there are good Germans. There are Germans who contributed to my fund to get rid of windmills. Unfortunately, they're in the minority, so they need to start breeding some better types. I do apologise to decent Germans, but it's no good. It's no good. They have to be put down, right? Many other companies have already announced that they will leave Germany and expand their operations in the USA and Asia. Rittel criticises Germany's increasing shift away from market economics, pointing out that the share of the public sector has now grown to 50%. Nobody will work in anything unless it's the state. It's now grown to 50%. Faith in the state is increasing. Everyone believes the state should be running the show. Support for the market economy is on the wane. Germany already has far the shortest working hours in the world. They're barely coming in at all. Ritzel explained. At 1,349 hours, 1349 hours, USA has 1791 hours, so it's 1340 to 1790 in the USA, and Poland 1830, longer hours in Poland. And we are currently discussing a 4-day week, if possible, with 2 days working from home for better work-life balance. Yeah, nice. Sure, the thing about it is, what I suggest them, send them up the check and don't ask them to work at all. For Ritzel, the fundamental problem is that the policy making in Germany is entirely subordinated to the issue of climate protection. Climate protection. The weather. No other country in the world has more foolhardy climate policy than Germany, he writes, which seems to believe that it can save the world's climate virtually single-handedly. Germany has abandoned nuclear power, and most recently even shut down perfectly functional nuclear power plants at a time of massive energy shortages. Electricity has been replaced by nuclear power from France, and hopefully France won't be getting the cheap uranium or yellow cake from Niger anymore. Let's hope that group in Niger win and put Macron out and stop them stealing the uranium. I mean, that's the stuff for them. So it's been replaced by nuclear power from France and coal-fired power from within Germany. They're digging more coal than ever. Greta Thunberg went over. She was arrested. She got nowhere. Among other sources, Rittel said. For years to come, we will have the dirtiest electricity in Europe after Poland, and we will not make any significant contribution to climate protection. And it's only about a year ago since the Germans were trying to shut down Poland's coal plants and sanctioning Poland, and the EU was trying to hit Poland for having coal-fired power stations, and Germany has opened 23 and there's no remarks passed. Why isn't the EU complaining about that? Where is the EU about all the coal they're burning? The flaw of Germany's energy and climate policy is the maxim: all electric, renewables only. However, delivering on this policy would mean that more than doubling the amount of electricity generated. So this is the point, very important point. So the delivering on the all-electric policy, no diesel or petrol cars, as he says, delivering this would be more than doubling the amount of electricity generated. And this is what I have said. If you have a perfectly adequate 10 gigawatt generating system, coal, oil and gas, and a little hydro, if you have that they are running and your country's going well, and you double the amount of that by putting in 10,000 megawatts of wind, you now have 20,000 megawatts. All of it has to be paid for, and only the conventional type works. And I have maintained that all these wind and solar farms are net consumers of electricity over a year. But anyway, they're not able to disprove me. But the point about it is, this is this man saying it. This isn't me. This is this head businessman in Germany. So what he says again is, however, delivering on this policy would mean more than doubling the amount of electricity generated, and doing so quickly, and doing it quickly too. Now, capacities for wind and solar power have been more than quadrupled. They're blowing about, oh, we have more. It's quadrupled. That's correct. Increased by a factor of 4, because wind and solar power are highly volatile. Jesus, isn't it great? Somebody copped on that the wind doesn't blow all the time. It was blowing hard the other night and it's not blowing at all now. Right, highly volatile. We would need huge storage. No, there's no amount of storage. I've done a video on that. Can't be stored in any appreciable amounts. And backup capacities. Backup of what? That's diesel engines. Backup capacity is diesel engines. However, Rittel explains, this is neither technically feasible nor affordable for a country like Germany. It's simply insanity. I'll spell that word. I-N-S-A-N-I-T-Y. They're insane. Does anyone think that an Irish rural farmer with cows would go to all this length and probably put himself down 10,000, if not more, in lost opportunity from campaigning against this madness, if it wasn't insane? It's not that it's a wee bit wrong, or it's not a good policy, this whole renewables. It's mad. It's nutcases. In addition to Merkel, Ritzel's criticism is also directed at Economics Minister Robert Habeck of the Greens. He's the Greens. He's Eamon Ryan of Germany. Habeck's renewables only plan will fail. It will fail. And all of our rollout of offshore wind energy, onshore wind energy, solar energy, battery storage, all of that will fail. That's why I want it assessed under the SEA directive by engineers. Will fail. He and the Greens, together with a large quasi-religious community, it's a religion, this old green thing, it's a religion with these quackos, of left-wing environmental journalists, of left-wing environmentalist journalists. Radio Television Sheridan in Ireland is all left-wing environmental journalists, and so is the BBC, right? So that's what he calls them. Are on an ideological journey. It's an ideological journey. They have this big notion and they want to tax us all and make us all comply with it. And we are voting. Our neighbours are voting. They're voting Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and going to vote Sinn Féin. And they're all bought over and all controlled by this left-wing quasi-religious community. That's the hard reality. that can only mean gigantic losses of prosperity in Germany. But unfortunately, it's gigantic losses for our people in Ireland as well. For our Irish country is also being destroyed. The Germans deserve this. As the man on the cross said, as the fellow beside our Lord on the cross said, we did something wrong. Well, you did nothing wrong. We are guilty of what we were put down with, even though the penalty is harsh. But you are innocent. And we are innocent. We never went along with this in Ireland. We have the misfortune of having a tiny amount of Green TDs who have the whole thing driven mad, and a crowd of weak Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and Sinn Féin politicians. Now, Rittner Zimmerman is the author of In Defense of Capitalism, and he has a thing there, and there's a bit about contributing to this newspaper, the article. So, folks, this is done with the acquiescence of Germany is in decline. A manager's verdict on the Merkel era by Rainier Zimmerman, and there's a picture here of Angela Merkel, and there you are. There she's there. And you can get it up yourself. There you are. That's the stuff. These people deserve no leeway. But unfortunately, we are still caught with them. We're still caught with them, unfortunately. And such a mess. We would all be very, very wealthy, and we'd have a lovely environment and a very clean environment if it was only a little bit of common sense. And if there's no common sense among the politicians, well, then we have the directives of the European Union, the ESCA directive, the EIA directive, the Habitats directive, and the Pollution Control directive. And they're all there, and the Planning and Development Act to implement it, all's there, and all of it is ignored by our government. So that's a different vision. That's my point of view, folks, pointed out, coordinated and corroborated by the German industrial giants. See you back for something soon. Give me a thumbs up if you agree, or comment underneath, or give me a thumbs down if you don't agree. We'll see you back. Thank you.